Hello and welcome to the show, coming to you from New York. Santana, Mary J. Blige, even Kenny Rogers. Some of the top music artists in the world have sought out our guest today to produce their albums. His own music, which hits platinum sales, usually features these stars, making him one of the most eclectic artists around, and he often carries a note of activism.
You're being deported.
What?
Transportation will come and pick you up in 24 hours.
What do you mean?
You'll gather your belongings.
What? There's no way!
Hector,
No,
get her
no,
out of
no,
here.
no!
Done. Next.
I'ma tell you, like you told me, cash rules everything around me, singing dollar, dollar bill, y'all.
Wyclef Jean's latest single from his upcoming autobiographical album, The Carnival 2, Memoirs of an Immigrant, touches on the plight of refugees. I sat down with him recently to find out more. Wyclef, great to talk with you, and everyone's excited about the new album, The Carnival 2, Memoirs of an Immigrant. Now, I gather it picks up from your first, that solo debut album in 1997, The Carnival,
Yeah.
The autobiographical stuff. So where does the story pick up in this one?
Well, the album's called Memoirs of an Immigrant because I was born in Haiti, and I came to America when I was 10 years old, and I couldn't speak any English. So the album takes up in the struggle of the immigrant living like in a foreign world. So that's why it's called Memoirs of an Immigrant. It's different stories about the upbringing in America.
Now, I've not had a chance to hear the rest of the album. It's still been under wraps pretty much, but I have heard the debut track that
The Sweetest Girl, yeah.
which is great, really catchy,
Thank
by
you.
the way. And I've seen the video, and it's got the refugee camp thing going, and it seems to have a little bit of a political flavor in the video. Was that intentional?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I'm a refugee. My parents came as refugees to this country. I'm from the biggest selling group ever, the Fugees. Fugees is short for refugees.
Right.
So inside of my music, it's always a substance. And this is talking about deportation and a girl that's in a refugee camp that's about to get deported for the struggle, and we help her fight.
Well, Wyclef, let's just hear a little bit of music from the new album.
Money, 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 money. It drive the world crazy. She used to be the sweetest girl. She used to be the sweetest girl ever. Now she like sour amaretto. She wears a dress to the T like the letter. And if you make it rain, she will be under the weather. She used to run track back in high school. Now she tricks on the track right by school. She take the loss cause she don't want to see her child lose. So respect her, I'll pay her for the time used.
You know, we had a number of emails from our viewers who wanted to put questions to you, and one of them refers to the new album. This one's from Marie in Texas, here in the US. And Marie says, as a Wyclef fan, I can't wait for the new album. How did you think to bring together such diverse artists like Paul Simon, Norah Jones, T.I. and Shakira all on the same album?
The way that I did that is this, you know, I've been eclectic all my life and I just love music. I'm a fan of Paul Simon, a fan of T.I. I think the best music comes from fusion, when you're able to understand the music of the world.
Are you ever worried that, you know, because I know it's almost like a Wyclef signature to have the collaborations, you know, featuring so-and-so. Do you ever worry that the other influences dilute what your core music is?
Well, I'm a producer first. So as a producer, like I'm like a Quincy Jones. So my first gift is to produce music. So I love working with artists. And I think I've been in the game since I've been 16 years old, you know, and I've been asked that like a few times, you know, and every time they say that, I keep getting more and more powerful musically. So I think that once you enter the studio with me, you've entered the clef zone, you know. It's hard to dilute the influence of what I'm about to bring.
So all
to
their
you.
styles are changing to yours then?
Everything changes to the clef zone.
Tell me about the new album. What sort of themes have you got in there? What sort of sounds and themes?
Man, the album is influenced again by the immigrants. You know, I was telling you earlier before the interview, one of my drivers, you know, that's been with me. I call him a father, not a driver, because my actual father used to drive too at one time. Karam from Egypt, you know, my assistant, personal assistant, Zakia from Morocco. So I've always been around the music. And this album has a lot of Indian influence, Arabic rhythms, African rhythms.
I gather you've even sampled Kulthum's
Yeah,
sound.
we mixed that with a bit of Indian, a bit of Dirty South, a bit of Bhangra, and put it together. So it's definitely, when you hear it, I would say that it's a world beat CD. It's like a hip-hop world beat CD. Whoever wants to open their minds to the next level of music.
Now, what happens to these other artists? Because the range is remarkable. I mean, literally is Tom Jones to Shakira and everything in between. Do they seek you out, or do you go out looking as well for collaborations?
I mean, when you starting off in the business, you have to make your marks. And once you get a couple of big records, you know, people look for you, you know. But when you're doing a CD, you know, I sit with my cousin Jerry, we put the whole music together. Then I listen back and say, okay, who do I want to use for this song and that song? Then I pick up the phone. I call Shakira, Shaki, I got this song, boom, boom, boom. She is not going to say no. That's my love, so it's all good, you know.
And she looks to call you Shaki as well.
Yeah, yeah, Shaki, I got this joint. You know, we call up Mary J. Blige, Paul Simon. The more difficult ones is when you try to call the legends that don't normally do collaborations. Like Paul Simon, he don't collab really with anyone, you know. But he heard the vibe and he liked it.
How do you keep it fresh? How do you get the fresh sound? You've been doing this very, very sort of prolific, as well as your own sound with other people's. How do you keep a fresh sound?
Well, you know, I wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, you know, pray. After I pray, I go do 150 push-ups. After 150 push-ups, I go run for 30 minutes. And then I start the day, you know. I think it stays fresh from the traveling. I think inspiration comes from other places. And if you just stay in one place all the time, it's hard for you to get inspired. I think if you travel, you go to Africa, you go to Latin America, by the time you get to America, you know, there's just so much to talk about.
Let me put a couple of emails we got to you from here now. We've got one talking about the new album, and you'd mentioned some of this already, but Nancy in Madaba in Jordan writes in saying, you're an ambassador for Haiti. How does your new album speak to what's happening in Haiti now?
It speaks to what's happening in Haiti. We have a song which is called Rouge et Bleu, which means red and blue. And the red and blue is a song which is talking about my country, the flag of my country. And it's saying, you know, we live for the red and blue, we die for the red and blue, we cry for the red and blue. In this song, we're not saying we want you to feel sorry for Haitian people. We're saying that we need you to help us inspire more Haitian kids. Because if you can put more positive things inside of the ghettos and the slums, then you're going to get a positive outcome. And that's one of the songs that we talk about. It's called Rouge et Bleu.
Now, in fact, your foundation, the Yele Foundation, Yele Haiti Foundation, is pretty active, isn't it, still there?
Yeah, Yele Haiti is the most active foundation in Haiti. We started it a few years ago. The foundation focuses on self-esteem, raising self-esteem for kids. 65% of the population of people in Haiti are under 21. So we have programs for the youth. We have scholarship programs. We have music programs. The concept of the foundation is, you know, not to give you, but to teach you how to fish. And once you learn how to fish, you could teach someone else how to fish.
It was interesting, you know, I was hearing about how you, in one of the lines you were singing, you know, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, they got competition, vote for me, vote for me. A lot of people hoping you're not getting into politics.
No, not at all. I said Obama, Hillary Clinton, they got competition. Vote for me, Clef for the president. I'm already the president. I'm the new president. I don't need a ballot. You know what I mean? I already got all the votes of the kids, you know? It's a song with, it's funny, you know, but it has a serious tone to it, you know? And the serious tone to it is that when I'm saying like vote for me, I'm saying, you know, the generation of kids that are living in America, just a generation coming from foreign, wherever we come from, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're looking at it saying, you know, we lack leadership and we need real leadership to the point where you would even vote for me for the presidency. That's what we're saying.
And do you keep an eye on politics a lot? I mean, I know because you're quite a social activist. Do you find yourself getting into the political side of quite a bit?
Well, the thing about it is, coming from where I come from, news is very important, you know, because, you know, and what I was saying is that, you see, my parents, you know, my dad passed, but my mother, when you from Haiti and you come to America, when you inside of that house, you in Haiti. Everything is Haiti. The television's Haiti, the food is Haiti, everything is Haiti. Then when you step out the house, you in America. Once you come back in the house, you in Haiti. So the thing about it is you always got to be aware of what's going on around the world in the politics. And so Haitian people more listen to world news because, you know, they play a lot of soccer, you know, so they're not into like like basketball. They're more into, you know, Brazil, France, what game is here, what's, you know what I mean? So definitely naturally.
Well, this email that came in from Dwight from Maryland in the U.S. says, being a refugee yourself, what do you think of the current climate regarding immigration in the U.S.?
You know, my views on immigration, speaking firsthand, is that my father, you know, came to America illegally. You know, let's make that clear. And then there was the immigration raid, and he ran from immigration, got away, jumped some fences, and then he sent, like years later, for me and my brother. And he's been living, you would say he passed now, but he served his duty in America, right, for like 25, 30 years, right? You know, he helped in the factory. He helped them build the house. He helped build everything, right? Now, just say something go wrong, right? And somebody else who's from the same country go ahead and shoot somebody, boom. And now they pass an immigration law and say, okay, well, we don't care. The same guy who shot the person, the same guy that been helping the country for 35 years, we're going to take everybody and we're going to ship them back. You know, I don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying? I believe in law and order, but not being biased. And I feel that the immigration law is a biased law, and it's a law which cater towards a certain profile and a certain group of people, and then it let the other people do what they're doing. So I'm against, you know, that sense. I feel the people that's been in a place putting their time and their energy, sending their kids to school and everything, now you want to base it on a racial profile and say, okay, now it's time for y'all to go back to your country. I disagree with that, and I have a song on the album which is called Bollywood Meet Hollywood, Immigration. And in the song Immigration, I say Marco Polo was an immigrant. Yes, he was. Columbus was an immigrant. Even America was named after an immigrant. So at the time, who are the real immigrants? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We've got an email that came in from Jesse in Vermont here in the U.S. who said, do you see your role as a musician and an activist as separate, or are they part of the same body of work?
They part of the same body of work. When I first came into the, you know, the music, you know, I was like young, you know, it's like girls' music, you know, and you naturally find yourself growing up to become a man. And then once you become a man, you have millions of people listening. So now when you pick up a guitar or you're writing a song, you're more like, man, what can I say that can be the voice of these people? So every time I open my mouth, I know it's the voice of the people. So I have to always think of that, you know, before speaking.
In fact, you know, a lot of comparisons are made between Haiti and Cuba, and there's talent, such as yourself, come out of both places. And this email that came from Maya in Michigan in the U.S. says, what's the difference between Haiti and Cuba? Meaning, why do you think Cuban refugees who reach U.S. shores are given asylum, but Haitian refugees are turned back?
You know, that's a good question, you know, and then there's a law which is called the dry foot law or the barefoot law, which means like that's the law where, you know, you see like they don't try to let them get off the boat, because if they get off the boat and then they touch the ground, you see what I'm saying?
They landed, yeah.
They're on ground and you can't necessarily do nothing. So the thing about it is that, you know, it goes back to the immigration situation that we're talking about, right? The Cubans are very, very powerful in Miami. You have Cuban judges, you have Cuban lawyers. They're very powerful. See, money and politics go together. The Haitians are large in numbers, but they're not strong politically. There perhaps is one Haitian judge in Miami. So the thing about that is that we talked about the law, and this is another law which is unfair, which means the same way that the Cubans are treated, the Haitians should be treated the same way. And that's something, once again, if my Cubans get to stay, why y'all turn my Haitians away? So tell them, all of this is on one song on the CD. All of it is on
So
one
the answer's
song,
there to the email.
which is called Immigration. The one song answers that.
Interestingly enough, since January this year, you've been an official ambassador for Haiti, you know, roving ambassador, trying to improve the image of Haiti. What have you managed to do on that front? What challenges have you faced?
I mean, really the challenges you face is, you know, you see, to change the face of a country, you can't do it with the people that's inside of the country. You have to do it with the people that's on the outside of the country, which means like, if I'm in New York City and I'm getting in a taxi, you know, and I ask a Haitian who's driving the taxi, hey man, what's going on in Haiti? Hey, you don't want to go to Haiti, they're kidnapping, they're killing, you know what I mean? So now, the person who's in the back of the taxi says, I'm never going to Haiti, because this person, so the challenge is teaching people to have great PR about where they come from in America, in the United States of America. Because you ask a man, how's Jamaica? He tells you, Jamaica is nice, man, everything Irie, go to Jamaica, you know? And that's the mentality that, that you have to do with the Haitian people. And the news is biased. You know, the news will always show you, you know, yo, in Lebanon, a bomb just went off. You know what I'm saying? Something went down. It's dangerous. Don't go to Lebanon. And then I'm calling my friends in Lebanon. Yo, what's that noise? Yo, we're in a club, man. It's crazy out here, man. When you coming out here, Clef? You see, so the thing about it is, you know, the PR has to start with us that are outside of these countries to let people know that, you know, there's danger. Like, there's danger in Brooklyn. There's no danger. You know, there's parts, you know, the police can't go to inside of Brooklyn. There's parts in D.C. that the D.C., the capital, that people can't go into. So at the end of the day, I think that, you know, great PR has to be formed outside of the country.
Let me squeeze in one last quick question here with you, Wyclef. And this one came from Omar in Istanbul in Turkey. And of course, the Fugees, as you say, a massive band. Everyone's been anticipating, and I've been hearing a lot about new album. Omar saying, what happened to the Fugees reunion?
Tell him, man, I'm as startled as he is. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely ready for the reunion, but I think that it's a reunion that can happen, but it can happen in time, because there's still little, you know, if I could be clear with my fans, because you gotta be true with the Fuji fans, there's still little frictions within the band. Lauren sees things a certain way, I see things a certain way, so I think, you know, we have to give and take, so it's gonna take a little longer.
She has to enter the Wyclef zone, eh?
Hey, I'm willing to enter the Lauren zone, but she gotta come in my zone. It gotta be a share, yin and the yang, balance.
Wyclef, thank you very much.
Thank you,
It's
man.
great talking with you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, thanks for being with us. On the next show, we talk with Muslim megastar musician Sami Yusuf about his songs and religious beliefs and how he combines them. If you have any questions or comments for him, send us an email to riz@aljazeera.net. We'll see you next time. Street Talk is next.